This is a quick demonstration of our standard data extraction technology and how it can be used with Integrify to make your document-based workflows more efficient. The data extraction is performed using our industry-proven key-value pair data extraction and OCR engines, which Integrify will call via an API to extract the data from a PDF formatted invoice and make it available in the Integrify platform, making the overall workflow more efficient and less error-prone, resulting in reduced rework. The use case for this demonstration is the invoice processing and approval workflow, but the features you will see can be applied to any document-based workflow. Here is the workflow we will be working with today. To start, we have a form task that is used to capture an email with an attached invoice that is sent by the vendor. The next task is a user-facing task that would be used by members of the billing team to review and submit invoices for approval. We will use this task to show the data extraction in action. After we review and submit the invoice for approval, we just have a single placeholder task representing what would normally be many review and approval steps in the workflow. And then finally, a task that will take the approved invoice and upload it to SharePoint for archiving purposes. So let's get started. First, I'll put on my vendor hat and send an email with an attached invoice. So I'll open up a new email, enter the recipient address, enter a subject here, and add some content to the body of the email. And of course, attach the invoice. And now I'll send this off. When I return to Integrify, I can see that the Integrify email monitor has captured the email I just sent and created an invoice approval task for me. I am now wearing the hat of the billing team member. Typically, my actions to complete this task would include rekeying in the data from the invoice and uploading the invoice attachment. But as you will see, this is all going to be performed for me by the data extraction engine. So instead of rekeying in the data and doing file management, I can just focus on reviewing the invoice details that have been submitted for payment. I'll open the task now. As we review the Integrify form, we can see all the data was extracted from the file and inserted into the Integrify form fields. The data is now available for review, reporting, and business rules, which would drive the workflow approval routing. A huge efficiency gain compared to rekeying in this data. Also less error-prone, as manual data entry always has some degree of error, which leads to unnecessary rework. So now I would review the form, and since everything looks good, I'll go ahead and submit it for approval. Our abbreviated approval workflow completes, and if you remember, there was a final task in the workflow that posted the invoice to SharePoint for archiving purposes. I'll just toggle to SharePoint, and we can see that the approved invoice that was originally sent via email to the Integrify workflow has now been posted and archived in this SharePoint folder, completing the full life cycle of this invoice approval process. Thanks, and this concludes this demonstration.